Hi, welcome to my kitchen. I'm Tracy. Today I'm going to show you how to make seafood and spinach quiche. I love this dish because it's really simple and quick, and it's a very versatile dish. Plus, it's packed with lots and lots of flavor. So before we get started, I want to tell you everything that you need. You need a stick of butter. The more butter, the better. 1 large portobello mushrooms, or about half a cup of chopped baby bellows. About 1/4 cup of crab meat, half a cup of shrimp, and half a cup of scallops. The thing that I love about quiche is you can use any kind of seafood that you want, and it doesn't even have to be seafood. But today I'm using scallops. 4 eggs and about 1 cup of cheese. And you can use any kind of cheese that you want. Remember when I said it's versatile? I have Colby, mozzarella, and sharp cheddar. The first thing you want to do is preheat your oven at 350 degrees. It's very important because we're putting wet ingredients inside of our pie shell, and if we don't bake it, it's going to get soggy, and nobody wants soggy quiche. And also, I want you to keep in mind that we're making enough ingredients to fill 2 pie shells, 2 8-inch, 9-inch pie shells. You want your pie shell to bake for about 5 to 7 minutes to a nice light golden brown. Don't bake it too much because it still has to bake more once we put our ingredients in. So the first thing I'm gonna do is chop our scallions. Now, I love onions, so I give them kind of a rough chop because I just like the way they taste. And the larger the pieces to me, the more delightful. And you're just gonna chop enough, so maybe you have about 1/2 cup of onions. And don't worry if it's not perfect, because it's gonna look delicious when you put it in your pie pan. And the next thing I'm gonna do is chop my portobellos. And I want to give you a tip about mushrooms. Never, never, never run your mushrooms underwater, because mushrooms are naturally hold moisture. So if you put them in water, they're just gonna absorb all that water. And then guess what? The water's gonna come out in your quiche. So the best thing to do to clean your mushrooms is just to wipe it off with a paper towel or a napkin. Just get, whatever you think might come off of the mushroom. And I'm also gonna chop the mushrooms roughly because, again, I like the flavor of mushrooms. And the good thing about mushrooms is they take on the flavor of whatever you cook with them. So you've got this great mushroom texture, plus this extra kick with the onions and the butter mixture that I'm going to show you in a minute. So I just cut them into like medium-sized little cubes of mushroomy goodness. And there you go. So that's about maybe 1/2 cup. And I got this recipe from my mother. And whenever my mother gives me recipes, she's like, oh, put a pinch of this in or a pinch of that. So I kind of am giving you estimations on measurements. Quiche is something that you just cannot go wrong with. So if you use 1/2 cup or 1/4 cup, it really doesn't matter because you've got all these great ingredients that are going to weld together and just be really great. So now the next thing we want to do is we want to saute our butter, onions, and mushrooms over medium heat in a saucepan. Now, I am absolutely in love with butter. My philosophy is you can never have too much butter. So I'm gonna start off with 1/2 stick. In Mom's recipe, she uses 1/4 stick. But Mom is all worried about her cholesterol. No, not me. And you wanna let that melt. And I'm so impatient. I just want it all to melt right now. So now I'm adding my onions to my butter. And I'm just kind of tossing that around. And don't worry about how it looks. It's not going to be perfect, but wait until you put it all together. It's going to be great. And also, if you notice, I'm not adding any salt to this because I'm using salted butter. So that's going to give it the right amount of flavor that we need. It's going to bring out all the flavors of your onions and your mushrooms. Now I'm going to add the mushrooms. And remember when I said the mushrooms take on the flavor of whatever you cook with it. So it's a good idea to toss the mushrooms with the butter and the onions first, just to give them a nice robust flavor. And you don't want to do it too much, just toss it around. So the next thing I want to do now is I'm going to add my seafood mixture. First I'm going to add my shrimp and scallops. I like cooking shrimp and scallops together because they kind of operate the same way when they're heated. The way that you know that they're done is if they get pink or the scallops get like a really dense color. If they're opaque, and I'm talking about the scallops and the shrimp, that means they're not done and you need to keep cooking. Okay, so now we're going to prepare what's going to go inside of our quiche. It's what's going to lay on top of our seafood, mushroom, and onion mixture. And this is my mother's recipe, but this is my take on it. Mom does kind of different things with it, and that's what I love about quiche. It's something you can serve for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and you can pretty much do what you want to it. So let's say you want to serve it for breakfast. Then you can kind of add like turkey bacon to it and omit the spinach. Or if you want to do it for lunch or brunch, you can add maybe sun-dried tomatoes or asparagus and maybe a pepper medley. So today, I'm going to use, I'm about to chop the spinach because we're going to add that to our wet mixture. Typically, Mom cooks her spinach and drains it. I don't, because I like to preserve all the nutrients in it. It's packed with vitamin K, A, B, and C, and it has a really, really good flavor. So I'm just gonna give it a chop. And I kind of want to give it a fine chop because nobody wants to bite into their quiche and get like a chunk of spinach. You want to get like a good mix of everything in it.